All right, guys, let's learn how seasons are going to change the future of Diablo 4. I'm very curious.
So with the Diablo 4 beta test coming to an end, I think one of the biggest complaints has been itemization, and I think one of the biggest worries going forward is going to be what the end game has to offer. And with so many new people coming into the Diablo 4 community that haven't followed the game's development, a lot of people don't know what the developers have planned for seasons.
Or for endgame, we put up a really nice video about Diablo 4's endgame that Trey was able to locate for us. And it shows that there actually is a pretty deep sort of endgame plan for a new game's release. It's not as deep as some season games that might have 5 or 10 years of development time, but there's actually a pretty good amount of in-game sort of content planned. And we just put out a tweet today talking about the size of the map. The size of the map is much larger than I think a lot of us even knew. So there's actually a lot of good things coming to Diablo 4 in the future.
So that's what I want to go over in this video, because I think seasons are going to be a pretty big answer to itemization and the end game.
I think seasons are going to be a big answer to a lot of things. But I think the seasonal model is going to be sort of what lets them sort of reset the slate on some stuff. But let's wait and see what they say.
And Diablo 4 is going to be heavily focused on being a live service game. That means a new season every 3 months. So they're trying to get those 4 seasons in a year. And somewhere down the road, probably every year or every 2 years, we're also going to be getting massive expansions. So this...
And those are good news. Those are good news. If you're a gamer, I know like there might be a shitty part about like paying for seasons or paying for season passes or something like that. But the good news is there's content coming out every quarter, or at least a change to the game every quarter. In worst case scenario, it costs you $10 or something, but you're playing the game as a live service, and you're going to have a lot of content and a lot of sort of upkeep with the game, and that's not free. So all in all, it sounds good.
Means Diablo 4 on launch can almost be seen as just a base or a starting point to be heavily modified and added to later down the road.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, most games are. Any game that's going to be a live service or anything that's going to be supported, take any game that started out and then look at it 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years after development. There's always a lot that gets added to it. So, I mean, that's pretty much goes without saying.
And we're even going to be getting the first season only a couple weeks after the initial launch. So content is going to be coming pretty quick after the game is released. And D4 seasons are going to...
And that's good. That gives you enough time for the first couple weeks to get through the base game and really understand the game, and then roll into the first season. And then also alleviates some of the pressure that people were saying, you know, people who buy the game early or get the game 4 days early are going to have this big advantage. Well, if the first season doesn't start until afterwards, it's not that big of a deal.
Going to work in a very similar way to Path of Exile or Diablo 3, where a new season comes out, it's on a seasonal realm, so you have to go make new characters and level them up for that new season. And the developers have some pretty lofty goals for every new season, because at a baseline, they're going to be adding a new gameplay feature and main quest line with every new season. And that's just the beginning, because they're going to...
And the question, though, is, one, what is the feature, right? If it's going to be like a rotational feature, something you see in like Destiny 2, where they just rotate in a new game mode or something like that, just some sort of like world-based game mode where you go grind, get loot, get gear, and then, you know, it kind of rotates out at the end of 4 seasons, at the end of the year or at the end of the season. And then the quest line, I'll be interested to see if it's how much of a quest line it is, if they already have a lot of narrative planned, and they're going to do like substantive quest lines, or if it's just going to be something small again, tantamount to something like Destiny 2 or another game like that.
We'll be adding a ton more content on top of that we're also going to be going over in this video. But this baseline is very important, because new gameplay feature means something that's actually going to change up the game, whether it be a new gearing system, a new mode or way to play in that season, a new main quest line that's going to further the story of the game, or add in new characters, or potentially go to new parts of Sanctuary. And one of the things that's really cool with this is that these new gameplay features and quests you will experience before the end of your first hour in every new season.
The hope is going to be that it's going to be first experienced and not experienced. The hope is going to be that maybe you go through a version of it while you're leveling through the season or whatever, but it would be best if you didn't really contend with them until after you got through all of your seasonal stuff and got into your grind, as like another way to sort of help your seasonal progression.
And one of their big focuses for every new season is going to be how they can change up the meta. Now, they don't want to completely nerf builds into the ground so they're not used, but they also don't want to have builds that are so strong that that's all that's going to be used. Their main goal is to have as many builds be viable as they can possibly get.
So yeah, so they're going to do what a lot of live seasons do, which is they keep the base game pretty safe, right? Like, they're going to try to make sure there's nothing real crazy or overpowered strong in the base core of the game. And then they'll add, like, the more unique, strong items that will be available for a season, probably in the Paragon board, or maybe some sort of seasonal drop, right? And then if it comes out too hot, they'll tweak it back, or they might just let it fly because at the end of the season, it leaves anyway, and they can use that to kind of balance things around. But the core base will stay at a very even keel. And I could see them doing that going forward.
Is your characters. And keep in mind, all those additions we went over is just getting more of the similar things we already have, but we're getting that new gameplay feature every new season. So that new gameplay feature can add in a completely different type of itemization or gearing, such as set items or runes, which we do know is coming back in future seasons. So as you could imagine, if they added something like set items into a new season, that would completely change the balancing of a lot of the builds and potentially add in the viability of dozens of new builds.
Or just builds that synergize with the sets. Typically, set items focus on a specific build. It's very rare, at least that I've seen in Diablo 3, that one set sort of synergizes with 10 different builds. So more than likely they'll use the set introductions to sort of get people into specific builds.
And on top of all the new content and additions we just went over, there's also going to be a smaller bit of content that they're calling live events that'll crop up every new season. And some of the examples I gave is Drowned may invade a region of the map for a weekend, or a strange peddler may show up in one of the zones.
So they're going to have like Xur or like flash events. So that makes, I can see that. That's part of the live service game, and that's kind of a way to get people to log back in, or people that, might be starting to lapse, to get them to come back in, at least for the weekend, or at least for the week to get the new shiny. So I could see them doing that because a lot of other games as service do that, so it would make sense.
Probably going to be smaller pieces of content that I would expect to most likely be cycling through. So maybe every weekend or once or twice every week, there's going to be some small event that happens that maybe gives you a new way to gear, or some new reward or content to go do for a smaller limited time. Now, with all this new content being added in, you want some objectives to go along with that. And that's where the season journey comes into play. Now, the season journey is just going to be a free part of every season. There's no monetization tied to the system at all. And essentially, this is a progression path throughout the entirety of the new season. There's a bunch of chapters of different things to go complete. And completing these chapters is going to give you a handful of different rewards, specifically shown off as gear and resources. And then completing different parts of the season journey and completing it all will also earn you some permanent cosmetic unlocks. And these objectives can range from anything from enchanting a piece of armor, to killing a specific amount of a specific enemy, to killing specific bosses, or completing certain chapters of the main quest.
Or running around collecting, I'm sure, probably Lilith statues and stuff like that. Like, some of it will probably be tedious, monotonous, and time consuming, but the hope is that most of it is going to be either engaging or something you're already doing. So it's just more of a like time in to unlock sort of thing, because you'll eventually kill the amount of skeletons or whatever.
Questline. And one of the coolest parts about the season journey is that to fully complete it, you have to beat an extremely difficult pinnacle challenge at the end of the season journey to complete the whole thing and get the ending permanent cosmetic rewards.
Or so they say now. And then they do like every other game as a live service, which is go, oh, fuck, this is too hard for the vast majority of our player base, and we don't want to alienate the vast majority of our player base, so let's go ahead and either nerf this or auto check it because we didn't think it through well enough, and this isn't going to be good for the vast majority of our player base. Origami, thank you for the alert. I'm not sure if that's what they're going to do, but that seems to be the running theme. Like the past couple seasons I played Destiny 2, there were tons of different sort of like seasonal challenges you had to do where it was like, get 50 kills of something or get 100 kills of something that was either really time consuming, monotonous, or was slightly challenging. And we would do it like as soon as it would show up, like 5th week in the season, 6th week in the season. And then by like week 12, Bungie would announce that, you know, due to unforeseen circumstances, this is just too challenging. We're just going to auto check it off for everybody that's done it, or for everybody that hasn't done it. And then you're sitting there going, well, I just spent fucking 20 hours doing it, and it just was like such a kick in the nuts every time.
And this is most likely going to take its form in a very difficult boss, which it sounds like they truly want to be very difficult, and they want to continue to add these type of very difficult encounters as they go along with each new season.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's great for me as a content creator, like having something to like do and try to do, and then having something to like help other people through is awesome. I think it's great. But I think for the like vast majority of the players, it'll be too hard, and it'll get tweaked, tuned, nerfed, or auto completed.
And the season
we'll see how well that ages.
Journey is going to be one of the ways they do that. So even in this seasonal objective system, they're still adding in a new piece of content in the end as that pinnacle challenge. So that brings us to the piece of seasons that's actually monetized, and that's the Battle Pass. Now, just right off the bat, there is going to be nothing in the paid version of the Battle Pass that can affect gameplay in any way.
Bam, there you go. No pay to win. There it is. There's nothing there that's pay to win. It's done.
If you spend any money, the only thing you're going to be getting is premium currency to spend on the cosmetic shop or just more skins. And the reason I specified that there is going to be no gameplay altering features in the paid version of the pass
is because the free version is going to have it.
Is because from the free rewards on the Battle Pass, you will be able to get XP boosts for your account. Now, the Battle
and you'll be able to buy those layers. You know what I mean? You'll be able to buy those levels through the Battle Pass system or whatever, through the currency. You'll be able to like ding out your Battle Pass, I'm sure, if you want to. I think I actually got 20 premium levels for getting the highest level of the game right on the pre-order. Well, come on in, Ghosty. How you doing?
Pass is going to work in a similar way to Battle Passes from other games, but in Diablo 4, there's only going to be one track. Some of the rewards are going to be completely free, so you'll still be able to earn some premium currency and some skins by not spending a dime. And then there's going to be
So what do they mean it's going to be one single track, right? So let's do this new. So it's going to be one single track, as in here's your Battle Pass track, right? And then we'll just do this real quick. So if this is your Battle Pass track, are they saying that like this one's going to be free, 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 and this one's going to be free? And then this one's going to be paid, and this one's going to be paid, and this one's going to be paid, which really de-incentivizes the paid version because you're only going to get 4 or 5 things? Or is it going to be more of like a system like this where it's like split? And then it's going to look like, you know what I mean? It's going to look like this with all these bottom ones being paid tier things. And then the free ones starting out pretty, you know what I mean? And then like getting more sporadic towards the end. Because while this is technically 1, it's realistically 2. Do you know what I mean? How you doing, Escalator? It's just I'm just curious. I need to see like it drawn out.
Be premium rewards that you unlock if you buy the Battle Pass, and that's going to be more premium currency that's only for the cosmetic shop and more seasoned theme skins. Now, there are going to be account-wide XP boosts in the free version of the Battle Pass, so you wanted to buy these at all. And you can't earn these account-wide XP boosts by buying skips for the Battle Pass, because you will,
which is what we said before,
be able to buy tier skips for the Battle Pass like pretty much every other Battle Pass, but this won't allow you to unlock these XP boosts any quicker because you have to get a character to a certain level to unlock these XP boosts for your whole account.
So that makes sense. I mean, the other alternative would have been you just wouldn't have been able, like unlocking, you would unlock individual tiers, and since it's part of a free tier, you can't unlock it. Do you know what I mean? So whether you unlocked all the premium ones and there's 20 premium slots on a 100 slot Battle Pass, right? But none of those are anything other than cosmetics and currency, and everything else you have to do the other way. About to hit the power cap, so Pinnacle grind soon begin. You guys ready for that? Have you played any trials or anything, or done any GMs?
So the idea is you go through on your main character, you get it to high level, you unlock these XP boosts, which will then help you to level up alt characters in that season even quicker. And the battle pass is going to coincide with every new season, so they're going to last right around 3 months, and they're going to cost $10 if you want to buy the battle pass to get the premium currency and premium skin.
We just need to see how good looking the premium skin is and the premium currency. If it's going to be more of like other live service games where like there are skins in the battle pass that are nice, but then they have like a whole sort of cash shop thing that sells just individual cosmetics as well, and those typically look better than the ones in the premium battle pass, then it's just going to be a lot of different ways to spend a lot of money really fast.
Now for an average player,
like real quick,
it's going to take around 75 hours to fully complete the battle pass. But keep in mind, this is in a 3-month time period. So if you play 1 hour for 75 out of the 90 days, you should have the battle pass completed.
And that's a lot. So we were looking at this the other day. And I did some research, and it looks like your average gamer plays about 442 hours worth of games a month or a year, which averages to roughly an hour a day. So yeah, playing 70 out of 90 days to unlock it for your average gamer is still going to be pretty tight because they're not going to be able to take a lot of days off, and most people burn out about mid-season. So we'll see how it goes. And it works out well for Diablo and Blizzard, right? Because then the average gamer is going to get towards the end and be like, well, fuck, I don't want to miss these cosmetics, and they're going to pay the $10 anyway, right? And then pay $10 worth of level skips. You guys also got the Excalibur. What kind of weapon is it?
And with a game like Diablo, most people probably aren't going to have any issue playing 75 hours in 3 months.
Most people will have a problem doing that because you're talking about most. Most means average, and average gamers don't get that many hours in. It's nice to think that most gamers won't have a problem, but I would say your average gamer, even doing 70 to 80 hours during a season, could be a stretch at times for them.
Type of ARPGs are very grindy, and people who are going to be playing every new season are going to be playing quite a bit. They'll probably get the season pass completed in the first week.
No, they won't. No, they won't. If it's going to take you 70 to 80 hours to complete it, that means you would be gaming 16 hours a day to complete it in the first week. That's not your average gamer. That is in no way, shape, or form your average gamer.
And as mentioned earlier,
I just want to point that out.
In the video, there will also be expansions somewhere down the road, and
I'm not shit talking the person that is like in charge of this video. I'm really not, but I think a lot of content creators are starting to lose touch with what the average gamer does. And that 70 to 80 hours, I would like to think a lot of gamers might, really try to push it and get through it in the first maybe month. But that's being optimistic on what a large group it is. And realistically, I think it's a very small group.
We don't know the exact time frame. We don't know if we'll be getting a new expansion every year or every 2 years, but I would fully expect new classes and very big gameplay features or massive additions to the game to be in those expansions. I probably wouldn't expect a new class in the season, and I probably wouldn't expect a full new region added into the game in a new season. And any massive new systems that change a large section of the game, I'd probably expect to be in expansions as well.
And I would agree with that. I mean, I imagine unless there's probably no reason to implement a new sort of class with a new season unless that's part of their strategy, which would be like every 2 seasons implement a new class, every 4th season or 5th season or whatever is a giant X-Pack, and the X-Pack doesn't have a class. It has new regions and zones and massive changes to the game overall, and they sort of do them like biannually to keep people invested, or if they want to put all their eggs in one basket and then just do small little sort of updates throughout the year. But we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But I do agree seasons are going to play a giant part in the future of Diablo 4, and I feel like it's going to be good in one sense, but I feel like it's going to add a sense of impermanence to certain aspects of the game. And for a lot of people, when they get something, they want to keep it. So maybe that'll be good, maybe that'll be bad. I know the ARPG style of like a character that lasts for a season and then kind of like gets sidelined is pretty standard. So having gear that kind of does the same thing might not be that big of a deal for the sort of like player base of the genre as a whole. But I think that Diablo 4 is trying to reach out beyond sort of that level for people. And I think like your average normal gamer off the side of the street, if you told them, you know, everything is wiped at the end of the season, you have to redo everything, you don't get to keep anything, it might be a little bit off-putting to them. So we'll have to see how it's sort of received by the community and how the new community that forms around Diablo 4 sort of takes to the game and see kind of what they think. But ultimately, I don't know, and I want to hear from you. So tell me what you guys think down in the comments. What do you think about it? What do you think about the seasonal model? What do you think about the changes and how this is going to sort of affect Diablo 4? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And as always, have a great day.